Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Ration Nerd. It is my absolute honor and privilege to host you here on this goofy-ass channel, where we check out some rations and eat them up and have a really good time. So thanks for coming along for the ride. Today, we are getting into this Latvian ration, and this one is kind of like a unicorn taking a piss in the middle of a field of glitter because these are no longer made, which is why this son of a bitch expired in 2021, so it's about 5 years out of date. Do we care? No, not particularly. Is everything in this bag going to be edible? Hell if I know. We're going to find out together, and if you like to do things together, do you know what you could do for this guy? You could absolutely hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and talk to me in the chat. It's always a great time to hear from you guys. And before we get into this nonsense today, I am going to announce the ration giveaway winner because I'm not going to make you wait till the end of the video. And the winner of this really awesome French freeze-dried 24-hour ration is News Guy Camping. Congratulations, dude. I'll be getting your address, putting this in the mail to you. If you want to be entered in the ration giveaway, all you got to do is join me on Patreon for $5 a month. It's essentially a ration raffle ticket. Just ask my Patreon members every month. Somebody that is a member of my Patreon channel gets a ration. This month, it's going to be News Guy Camping. Congratulations, dude. I'll reach out to you on Patreon, and we'll get this in the mail over to you. Now, this is a ration that I've wanted to get for a really long time. I have actually ordered one of these rations about 4 or 5 times. Customs got it every single time. My buddy hooked me up. This guy right here, if you reach out to him via email, he's got lots of cool rations. He was able to get one of these for me. I really can't get one of these that's not expired because they just don't make them anymore, and I've always wanted to dig into one of these. We have a menu number 4. This guy has about 1,963 calories in this son of a bitch. Are all of them going to be edible? Hell if I know. This thing is coming in at about 1.5 pounds. Not too shabby for 1,963 calories. So without any further ados, let's get into this guy. So there is no resealable bag. You just have to bust your way in. So this is the first one I've ever laid hands on that was completely intact. I'm really hoping this thing is still edible. That would be absolutely great. So let's stick our nose in the bag since this thing is 5 years out of date. It smells a wee bit funky in there, but there's also Esbit tablets in here, and that is what I'm smelling. So that is always a kind of good sign. I'm not smelling anything rancid or putrid. Speaking of funky fish tablets, there you go. There are 4 Esbit tablets, an Esbit stove, some matches, a rubber band, and some destructions in there. So we have a nice little heating kit for our meal. And you know, that's actually pretty good. 4 Esbit tablets for a single meal and a stove. If you got 3 of these a day, you'd have a hell of a lot of extra stoves. You'd have like some ninja stars you could throw at your enemies or something if you sharpen them up a little bit. Totally excellent. And we have a bag o' accessories in here. I'll tell you what, we'll leave the accessory bag until after we get everything else out. There shouldn't be too much in here. I do feel... I'm not sure about them there 5-year expired raisins, but we do have 50 grams of raisins. Let me just bring that up to your face. Would you stick that in your mouth? Maybe you would. Maybe I will. I'm not real sure. It depends on what my nose has to say. That could just be crystallized sugar on there. Who knows? But we have 50 grams of raisins that were at one time, I'm sure, nice and fresh. We have a rice porridge with apples. This is definitely not a tri-laminate package. So, it's 50 grams of rice porridge with apples. Hopefully that survived. That is a bit crinkly, wrinkly, and looks like it's seen better days, but you never know. It could be nice and fresh in there. That's not the best packaging on the planet, so I doubt it, but we're going to give it hell. Ooh, then we have a piece of rye bread that has absolutely lost its vacuum seal. That there is a shame. There's a bit of stickiness on the outside of the package. I'm wondering if that even... I'm not really sure if that just leaks air completely, but take a look at that. That used to be a piece of rye bread. Well, I guess it still is, just in a really deteriorated state. Not the best looking thing ever, but I don't know if we're going to give it a nibble, but we're certainly going to get it out of the package and at least give it a sniff. I really wish I could have gotten one of these when it was fresh. I tried so many times, just couldn't pull it off. Customs ripped me off every time. Love you guys, by the way, keeping us safe from all these foreign rations. So what do we have here? This feels like a chocolate bar, and it absolutely is a nice 36-gram chocolate bar. Ooh, that's what the sticky stuff is in there. There we go. The strawberry jam has given up the ghost, has been beaten up inside of that bag. So we would have had a nice pack of strawberry jam, but that is absolutely bad, but we'll sit it out here just for fun. And there's another pack of jam in here that looks a little worse for wear. These packages are not a great idea when you're going to have a canned food item inside of a bag rocking around. This apricot jam is pretty much non-existent at this point. Both of those jams got damaged, and to be fair, they could have been damaged a long time ago, way before the expiration date ever passed. That particular packaging kind of sucks for this bagged ration. And we have a can, which is very likely still good. This is going to be your beans with meat, a 250-gram portion. No bulging on the can, which is a good thing. No rust or any deterioration that I can see. It does have some stains on the label, but that's no big deal. We'll give that a crack and see what that is all about. And that is everything out of the bag. Now let's see what we have in this accessory kit here. I really wish they would have kept using the same style of Latvian rations. I've had one of the newer Latvian rations. So what do we have here? That's a hell of a lot of sugar, 40 grams of sugar. That is a hell of a lot of diabetes powder for a single ration, but hey, sometimes you really need a good sugar boost. We have a Lipton Yellow Label tea. That's a classic right there, Lipton Yellow Label. As long as it's still good and hasn't been tainted by a pack of matches hanging around with it for a long time, Lipton Yellow Label is pretty much good, I don't know, almost indefinitely. Really good tea though. We've got a lemon fresh hand wipe to clean up your dick beaters. We have a relatively cheesy, really thin and flimsy spoon. This reminds me a lot of the spoons you get in like a Russian IRP or a Russian 24-hour. Really thin. Probably have to be careful. You'd slice your lips open on that. Not a great look as far as utensils go, but at least they give you something. And we have a pack of spearmint power gum that feels pretty damn hard. That's all right. We'll give it a little chew and see what power gum is all about. And then, amazingly, you get 4 packs of Nescafe Classic freeze-dried instant coffee, which is abso-fucking-lutely amazing. That is a hell of a lot of coffee to give one soldier. That is absolutely awesome. Maybe there's a reason why I wish Latvians would have stuck with this form of ration, although there is no cream in this ration. That's my one bitch about it. But you certainly have plenty of sugar to go with the coffee, so that's not a horrible thing. Well, my friends, this is everything contained inside of a Latvian ration, which expired in 2021. This is the old style, and well, you just can't get these anymore, so I'm going to have to get this out onto a tray, and I'll be right back. All right, and you know how we roll, even though it is dinner time here in Ration Nerd Land, and I'm pretty hangry because I haven't eaten all day, we've got to get to making that coffee and making that tea. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to dutifully check our Nescafe for any kind of dry mold or discoloration. I just recently opened some Italian coffee that came out of an older ration. I wasn't expecting anything to be wrong with it. It came out looking like a dried black tar, so be careful with coffee. It can go bad on you. And because I did recently have a little bit of foodborne illness from eating some, well, kind of yucky things out of a Spanish emergency ration, I am going to thoroughly check everything in here because me and the toilet really aren't that great of friends that I want to spend that much more time with the damn toilet. So let's go ahead and put that nice freeze-dried Nescafe in there, and we'll leave our dirty palm available to check the next package. I highly suggest that if you are embarking on any kind of antique food journey, that you check everything and inspect everything thoroughly, or you and your toilet will become much better friends, or maybe you and the doctor. You got to be careful. So let's check this other coffee out here. Now, it has taken some abuse in shipping. It's gone from more of a freeze-dried to a powder, but that is okay. And that still has a nice, fresh Nescafe freeze-dried coffee smell. And let's check out that Lipton Yellow Label. I'm actually kind of excited about the Lipton Yellow Label. It is good stuff. I'm not a big tea guy, but you know, every once in a while, and it did get a little chilly out here in Ration Nerd Land again today, which I was really excited about. I'm not much of a hot weather guy. Let's sniff that Lipton Yellow Label, and that smells absolutely fabulous. In the cup you go. Let's get some of that diabetes powder and just go to town. You know, it's dinner time. I haven't eaten all day, so what the hell? 20 grams of sugar. Why not? Because you fucking get diabetes, that's why. And then we're going to have a really, really sweet-ass glass of hot tea. Oh, well, we did have 2 packs of coffee. We'll share a little bit with the coffee. Get some of that nice hot water going on in here. A little disappointed there's no cold drinks with this ration, but that is all right. I guess next thing we really should do is, well, we should probably start heating up this damn can. So let's see if our beans with meat survive the journey. I don't see why they wouldn't have. That's sexy looking. Yeah, that is real sexy looking. And for all you non-imaginative people out there that blather on about how I suck in the comment section, that's called fucking sarcasm, in case you don't know what sarcasm is. And maybe look that shit up in the dictionary before you get on my comment section and make yourself into a jackass. I'm already doing that for me. I don't need you to do it as well. Anyway, let's take a look at that. That is a big old can of beans and meat. Not the most attractive thing I've ever seen when it's nice and cold. Actually smells kind of delectable though, if I'm being honest. I want to go ahead and get this, since we're only doing a single meal, and I don't really have to stress about time too much, except for those people out there that just can't stand the fact that I don't make short form videos and they're fucking drooling right now because it's already 3 minutes and I haven't taken a bite of the food. Yeah, piss off, go find somebody else to watch. So can you tell I'm in a little bit of a bad mood and I'm just tired of hearing people with their you this and you that. It's called YouTube. Fucking scroll to something else. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Let's get some of these fuel tablets in here, get to rocking out with our proverbial cocking out, and see if these fuel tablets held up. I am positive they did, because they smell pretty fucking bad. Did you want to know what stanky fish smells like? Here you go. Take a little sniff sniff, because that's what stanky fish smells like. And we did get a pack of matches in there. We're going to heat it up in the can, because everybody's going to lose their fucking mind because I heated something up in the can, and the can had a liner in it, and it got a metallic taste. Don't really know if that was me cooking the can liner or if it was just the fact that the shit was bad. Stuff happens, guys. I'm not perfect. This isn't a professionally produced program, in case you couldn't tell. We're going to go ahead and heat that up in the can. That can does not have a liner, so we're going to go ahead and use what God gave us, which is that there can. And speaking of cocks, we have a little safety guy right there on the matches. It's a cock standing on a lit match. That's pretty awesome, to be fair. And those fuel tablets definitely caught nice, so we're going to get our beans and meat on there. Meanwhile, while we're wrecking the main, let's get this coffee stirred up. We're going to get a little steep on our tea. And I didn't do it last video, so I guess this video I get to do it again. Get your steep on, or get your steep on, or get your steep on. Quiet. Anyway, we're gonna go in and check out this rice porridge with apples. Hopefully this survived. Sounds kind of yummy to me. Look at that. That looks very white and plain, a whole lot like rice. Oh God, that smells really, really stale. It's stale. It smells like stale Russian crackers. Oh, that's epic. We're gonna go ahead and mix it up anyway. Let's see what they're calling for here as far as how much water do I put in this damn thing. 100 mils of water in 8 minutes. They want me to cook it in a bowl. We don't have one. We do, however, have a tray for this nice stale-ass rice porridge. Meanwhile, over here, we're probably burning some beans, and we want to rectify that situation. There's a really nice fat content to this main, though. Some larger beans, some big hunks of meat. I mean, this sounds really simple and basic, but I'm telling you, that had a really, really delectable smell to it. Super savory. Didn't really smell like anything beans. Just smelled like a really savory meat. Smells really amazing. Hopefully that heats up really well. And because science, we have 100 mils of water going in that there rice. I have a feeling this rice absolutely did not survive in that, like, not tri-laminate packaging. That was just a foil and paper packaging. Tri-laminate may have preserved it. Rice is usually really hardy, able to withstand a lot of heat stress, so long as it's packaged properly. And I can say that for any kind of long-term scenario, that was absolutely not packaged properly. Looks like now that we've hydrated it, some of these little brown pieces could be those apples there. We'll give that some time to do its thing, soak up some of that water and see if that stale flavor comes to the front or maybe floats around to the back, kind of like a bad molar that needs to be removed. Let's check out these old crusty raisins. I'm really hoping that some of this stuff survived. Honestly, at least I know the main did, so I won't be like going to search for an old slice of pizza in the fridge. Before I even dump those out on the tray, let me give those a sniff. And those surprisingly don't smell bad. They don't smell at all like a fresh pack of raisins. I'm going to bring them up there so you guys can get your eyeballs on them outside of the packaging. Really interesting looking. I'm surprised they're not just like a brick o' raisins. That's not completely horrible. Stir, stir, stir. Don't burn the beans, son. I know. Well, I don't know. I am predicting that this bread is completely inedible, but we're going to go ahead and get it out of there. I'm going to do it a little further away from the rest of the food, just in case it's super nasty. I don't want to spread filthy rye bread hunks all over food that may be edible, but it looks like it's already broken here. That is not great looking. So at the risk of spreading some foodborne illness over the rest of the tray, let's bring that up to you guys so you can take a nice close-up of that crusty 5-year expired shelf-stable rye bread. Certainly doesn't look great. Looks like it dried out in like weird sections, but we might just give it a nibble right after I put my nose up to it. All right, we're just gonna give that one more minute. Let's rescue this chocolate bar out of here, see how time treated this guy. This isn't a nice foil package. Actually, it's more like Mylar than it is foil, but some of that jam goop got on there is making it kind of hard to open. Look how nice that chocolate looks. That looks really good. Gotta wipe my hands in between each step here, so let me bring that chocolate up to you so you can see how well this chocolate survived. Has a nice little stamping in the front of it. Very good looking chocolate right there. I'm pretty jazzed up about that. I love me some finely aged chocolate. And now it is absolutely time to rescue that mane off of the roaring fires of hell it's enduring right now. We got that nice little can grabber out of that Polish ration, which is pretty bitchin'. So we're just gonna utilize that because it's sitting here. And yes, I know, soldiers have gloves. I understand that. I totally get it. You know what I don't have sitting here? A fucking pair of gloves. You know what I'm not using? A fucking pair of gloves. It's amazing, isn't it? So here we go. Let's get some beans and meat out onto the tray. This really is like a dream come true for me. I have to thank my buddy for hooking me up with this. This is an awesome ration to be able to try. Always wanted to get my hands on one of these back when they were still in current Lithuanian issue. There is some burnt to the bottom of the can. I'm not going after it. We're just gonna have what we have here. So we got about 249 grams because I burnt a little bit of it. So at any rate, we're gonna start by checking out this coffee that has about 25 grams of sugar in it. 2 packs of coffee, 25 grams of sugar. That sounds about right. We're just missing the cream, which is a real bitch. Smells just like Nescafe. And thankfully, it tastes exactly like Nescafe coffee. Tiny little bit of acidity, nice and smooth, not the best coffee on the planet, but it's absolutely not the worst instant coffee I've ever had. If you've had Nescafe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I highly suggest you take your ass to the store and get some. It's widely available everywhere. This is actually really decent instant coffee. A little bit acidic, not very nutty. It is a decent cup of coffee though. It's definitely somewhere in the medium roast range, which is a good thing, simply because it'll meet a lot of palates. If you want to take this and just put an itty bitty water in there, you'll have a really super strong cup of coffee. And if you don't like it a medium roast and you like something a little lighter, just add more water and you can water down your coffee appropriately. I really do dig Nescafe. It makes a great ration coffee and it survived 5 years past its expiration date. Yes, give this tea a little bit more steeping time to get all that gold label goodness out into the water. And we cleaned up that spoon so we can get back in here and stir up this rice a bit. That's going to be, well, kind of like my dessert. There are 2 bars of chocolate over there staring at me, but this seems like it would be a sweet item. I may have screwed the pooch by putting all my sugar in the drinks. Maybe I should have saved some for this rice porridge. That's me, you know, like always, not really thinking ahead, just kind of rolling with it. Kind of like today's video. I was like pressed for time, really wanted to do a 24-hour, just didn't have time for it this week. Had to go with the single meal option. I know lots of my OG fans really love it when I do 24 hours. Sorry guys, love you. Next review will be a 24-hour ration, I swear. But we're getting that all nice and mixed up to give it the absolute best chance to be completely rehydrated. All right, and since it's nice and hot, the first thing we're going to do is tuck into this beans and meat main. So this is definitely very interesting looking. I do want to point out the weird color of these beans. I'm not 100% sure what type of beans these are, but I'm going to go ahead and bring that up to you. If you look at the exterior hull of the bean, it's almost like it's camouflaged, like it's modeled. It has a weird color and shape to it, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and roll with it. So we have some relatively large beans in here, but we have some beef floating around in here, which is pretty cool. There's actually a good bit of beef in here. That's not too shabby at all. I still cannot find out what kind of beans these are, so if you happen to know the modeled speckled style of beans that are in here, please leave it in the comments. I couldn't find it described on the can as to what type of beans these are. But other than the beans and the meat, there's definitely a bunch of carrot shreds in here. There is supposed to be some onion and seasoning in here. Other than that, just just beans, meat, carrots, onions, and a little bit of sauce, which was really created by the meat itself. So we're going to grab a little happy family, a little bit of everybody. We got some beans, we got some meat. There's probably some carrots floating around in there, and that's got an excellent savory flavor to it. Let's bring that up to you so you can see that first bite of 5-year expired beans with meat from a Latvian ration. Right in the face hole that goes. And oddly enough, nothing tastes wrong with this. The smell and the flavor absolutely do not go hand in hand. This flavor is really dull, really boring actually, and it's had this great savory, like well-seasoned smell. The taste is literally just beans, just meat, maybe a little bit of carrot. You might pick up a tiny hint of that. Otherwise, this is extraordinarily bland and not what I expected after I smelled it come out of the can. I mean, as far as nutritionally goes, this is going to be carbohydrate and protein packed with all these beans and meat. I mean, they pretty much left the vegetables out of the equation. It's almost like there's just a little bit of carrot shreds in there for just some color. But on the taste side of it, it's not great. It could really use some salt and pepper, and there's none of that in this ration, which is definitely a bummer. But this is, I don't know, it's satisfying. It has a great texture. The beans actually have some chew to them. It's just not very flavorful. It's extraordinarily bland. It's a damn shame. A little bit of seasoning probably would have woke this right up. It really is. It is a crying shame that they just obviously don't know what the hell seasoning is. Nice fat content in this dish, even at 250 grams. This is really going to fill you up. I got to do it just for science. I've got some salt and pepper sitting here by the table. Normally, I don't add anything, but I just gave you the description of that, and it was 100% honest. This is going to be the only thing I eat for the day, so honestly, I really want it to taste good. So this is a Ration Nerd first, where I pulled in some auxiliary salt and pepper from another ration. I'm just going to go ahead and try to give this the best possible chance of tasting good, because this is my dinner. A little bit of that peppery goodness. A lot of bit of that peppery goodness, and a little mix. I think realistically, with some hot sauce, some powdered hot sauce, just regular salt and pepper, probably would have been just absolutely shut me the hell up. I would have taken one bite and said, this is kind of bland. Hooked it up with maybe some hot pepper powder, or just some salt and pepper, and it's probably going to tune this right up, and I'm going to be really jolly about it. This is not very attractive, but hey, with a little bit of seasoning, I feel like this is going to be amazing. Let's give that another day in court. Yeah, absolutely. That just really needed some salt, especially the pepper though. The pepper really sets it off. Don't get me wrong, it didn't make it so amazing that I'm just going to sit here and rave about it. It did, however, bring out a lot of the flavors of the beans and the meat and made it a hell of a lot more interesting. This ration in itself really could just use a little bit more in the way of accessories. They gave you a lot of coffee, which I'm absolutely happy about. Only one wipe. I mean, how are you? This will clean up your dick beaters before or after, or maybe both of your meal. What are you going to do with that face? What happens if you have a booger? There's nothing in there for you. And I guess we could have had jam on our rye bread, which is a really weird flavor combination, at least for me. You know, we're getting down to the end of it. This main is just kind of weird. It's kind of satisfying in the sense that it really shuts your hunger down pretty fast with all that meat and beans and really high fat content. So that's really amazing. It's just not very interesting. And the more you eat of it, even with the salt and pepper on it, it's very unidimensional in flavor. It is the same flavor from the first bite to the absolute last bite. It is literally like taking the same bite over and over again. That can get pretty redundant. Like I said, nutritionally, I'm all on board the beans and meat train, but flavor-wise, just not doing it for me. Isn't that always a bitch when you get something you've been waiting for like ever, and finally you get it, and then it's just not all that in a bag of chips? But that is absolutely the ration game. There were obviously other menus. This wasn't the only menu that they had. Maybe the beans and meat was probably the worst menu. I'm definitely on board with the nutrition value of this and the high fat content. The fact that already, just after eating this 250 gram main, I'm feeling pretty damn full, which is amazing. It was just kind of difficult to put it down, simply because it's like taking the same bite over and over again until the end. Speaking about over and over again, there is that last bite for you, dutifully going in ye old face hole. Let's see if that really stale, smelly ass rice flavor transferred over into the flavor profile. Let's hope not. Let's hope maybe just the apples were stanky and stale. Who knows? But let's go ahead and tuck into some of this 5-year expired rice porridge. Actually, rice porridge with apples. I apologize. So let's give the first bite to you guys so you can take a peek at it. That's what I'm about to stick in my face hole. That's what he said, because that was the last thing he ever said on YouTube. Giggle, giggle. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to share with you guys. That was very interesting. No need to like eject it from my face or anything, but that is very interesting. The heat stress that package was under the entire time, and that poor packaging that this was in, definitely did this in. It's very weird. It starts out with a little bit of a warm, almost vanilla rice flavor. Then it slowly shifts over into like having a mouthful of really weird, wet, granular, like almost like undissolved milk powder. It doesn't taste rancid or anything like that. It does have a very stale taste to it. I don't think it's technically rancid or bad or anything like that, but it's certainly not very enjoyable, which is why we're going to have another bite, because I may never get this item ever again, and we're going to go for it. That was nasty. That second bite just kind of had that library book hint to it. Like if you stick your head inside of a library and imagine just like licking the wall, kind of had that taste. It was definitely very weird. We tried it, I imagine, back when this was fresh. It's not very sweet, and it doesn't really taste like apples. Now, back when it was fresh, maybe the apple taste was a little bit more pronounced, but it doesn't really have any fruit flavor, at least in its current form. Very, very mildly sweet. I would say if I were to ever get one of these again, which I probably won't, I would definitely save some of the sugar to mix in with this. This would have been a really enjoyable item when fresh. Now, completely out of date. Lord knows how many miles that ration traveled to get to me. But yeah, this would have been a great ration item. Would have been a lot of fun to have this when it was nice and fresh, but guess what? It's totally not. So we're just gonna leave that where it is. So let's check out some more really old food and go in for these raisins. I'm gonna put a modest handful and bring them up to you one last time so you can check them out with your own eyeballs. But I'm gonna take like 3 of them and stick them in my face, chew them up a little bit, and see if my mouth throws up any warning symbols. So there's 3 really crusty raisins, and that is absolutely crazy. As old as these raisins are, 5 years past their expiration date, and also not in great packaging. That thin, see-through plastic just wasn't screaming quality to me. But these are almost a little bit granular, like sugar at this point. They're very sweet. There's no weird or off-putting tastes to these. These raisins stayed perfectly fresh, or at least perfectly edible 5 years past their expiration date. That's pretty amazing. This is probably the best thing out of the ration so far, next to the coffee. I'm not really sure what kind of voodoo magic or crazy chemicals were sprayed on these raisins to make them last this long, but I'm sure as hell glad they did. It is crazy, even just putting these things in your face, kind of like I'm raising my own eyebrow at it, like, is this a great idea? But my mouth is saying, it's all good, homie, let's go. Finish up the rest of these antique raisins over here, which were actually really sweet, really yummy, probably better than the day that they were packaged, because now they're almost like coated in granular sugar. That's really excellent. And even though they're kind of boring, at least raisins will absolutely help you poop. And sometimes in a combat situation, when you're really stressed out, I imagine it might not be that easy to poop. Raisins will definitely help that along. Let's clear the old raisins out of the palate with some of this Lipton Yellow Label. And that is really yummy, especially with all that sugar. I hate to say it, but man, with about 15 grams of sugar, that is an amazing glass of, well, it's not hot anymore, it's relatively warm, but it's steeped for a good long time. Nice, powerful tea flavor, nice tannin level. I do like tannin for some reason. I just really like that about tea. I like my tea iced more than I do hot, but this is really great. Kind of like a southern sweet tea, but warm. You put that in the fridge, it would make one hell of a small glass of iced tea. Now, before we get into that gum and that chocolate, let's check out this crusty, dusty, old-ass bread. Now, there is some white stuff on here, but that could just simply be the bread drying. I'm not really sure. It's certainly extremely hard. I mean, what do you guys think? Would you take a bite of that, knowing that it's 5 years out of date and it's got some weird white crusty shit on it? You probably wouldn't, because you're smarter than me. But let's see. These were nice, thick, dark rye slices. Shelf-stable rye bread goodness. That is definitely very, very strange looking. I'm going to get my nose up to that. And this bread really didn't smell great to begin with. I have had this in other rations. We'll try down here at the very end to see what this old bread's got to say for itself. We'll just give it a little nibble and see if it survived. I highly doubt it. You know, I'm going to have to err on the side of caution because this bread is normally very bitter, but for some reason, well, not some reason, for a very good reason, the fact that it's old as hell and the packaging seems to be compromised, it has about, I don't know, 50 to 75% more bitterness than usual. That's probably because it's old and it was compromised by air. That is a damn shame. Honestly, I think if the packaging would have stayed intact and air wouldn't have gotten in here, it might not have tasted much better, but it certainly would have been edible. It is a very, very sour rye bread. It's actually pretty good. I certainly couldn't see putting any jam on this stuff because it would just be such a weird flavor combo, but the bitterness of this is absolutely off the hook. So we are going to err on the side of caution and not have any more of that. And I guess since we're playing with crusty things, we can see what happened to this jam on the inside of the packaging. I know this is kind of a weird review today. I'm not eating much, but you know, really wanted to review this ration. I've been looking for one of these for a really long time, intact, that customs didn't fuck up. Thanks, guys. Love you. And this jam has absolutely crusted up like a boss. That's like a little jam puck. I wouldn't put that in my face for love or money. That's pretty nasty, and I'm sure the strawberry looks amazingly similar to that. That actually just kind of looks like a strawberry fruit chew, or maybe like a strawberry insect pod. I'm not really sure. That is not something I'm looking forward to putting in my face. These containers really suck. Air got in, destroyed the jam. That is a shame. We would have had strawberry and apricot jam, but it's not to be. Now we get to move on to this chocolate over here. This looks like to be a decent quality dark chocolate. There's only one way to find out: sticking it in my big messy face hole. You know, that is a really fun and cool thing about doing this hobby, that every once in a while you run across something that just knocks your socks off. I am a big fan of dark chocolate. This is probably about a 60 to 65% cacao or cocoa, whatever you want to say. It is a little bit on the dry side, but the sweetness brings it back. It's almost like you get a little bit of that drying sensation from a really nice, almost bitter dark chocolate. Then the sugar kicks in and just re-moistens your mouth. It's a really interesting, very yummy, almost slightly crunchy, hard dark chocolate. This is almost like it's not aged at all. You can see just a tiny little bit of surface blooming. That's absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of chocolate and how long it lasts. This is an extremely high quality piece of dark chocolate. I'm loving every last little bite of it. That fucking dark chocolate is absolutely amazing. I'm gonna be honest, I've bought a little bit of like bougie, like high dollar dark chocolate when I've been out and found like a little bougie chocolatier, whatever the hell you want to call them. This is probably one of the best pieces of dark chocolate I've ever put in my face, and it was completely worth the cost of admission into eating some bland ass beans and meat, a couple mouthfuls of stale ass rice and apple porridge, even taking a bite of that really funky ass bitter rye bread. This dark chocolate is absolutely amazing, and I would have bought this ration if for nothing else than to get my hands on these yummy ass little dark chocolate bars. Never stood a chance, and neither did this dark chocolate. God, this is so good. And I've got to give that dark chocolate just another minute to linger in my face because it's so goddamn good. Let's check out this lemon fresh wipe to see if we can clean the raisin goop and all the other crap off of our fingers. Did this retain its moisture? It certainly did. It's actually really moist, which is pretty awesome. Not the strongest or craziest towelette I've ever seen, but check that out. It is so wet, it is dripping all over the tray. That's excellent that it lasted that long. That didn't even seem like a tri-laminate packaging. Guess it's just a foil-lined paper package, but look, that actually worked out. Nice and wet, definitely cleaning all the raisin goop off of my fingers. Let's give that a sniff. And that only has a very mild lemon scent, so not gonna give your soldiers away in the middle of combat, smelling like a bunch of lemony fresh soldiers, but that was so wet that my hands are actually still moist, so that is a win as far as a wet towelette goes. You're still not wiping your butt with that. You could definitely catch a booger, but you're gonna get some serious poke through going on, and nobody likes to poke through because then you don't ever want to touch yourself with that hand ever again until you forget about it. But let's move on to this gum. It felt pretty hard, pretty out of sorts, but it is packaged really well, and I do like me some spearmint gum, and my hands are still wet, so I'm gonna need some advanced tools here to try to fight my way into this piece of gum. The gum is definitely kicking my ass. I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. We have one long piece of gum. Let's throw that in the face. That gum has a really tough chew, but a very, very mild and sweet spearmint flavor. I actually really enjoy this, and I think the toughness, like the real chewiness of it, is going to help you, force you to like just activate your face, and it'll also help pull food out of your teeth, which is one of the reasons why they give you gum after a meal. I really like that gum. The only reason I'm a little butthurt about it is because that gum made the taste of that dark chocolate disappear out of my face. Safety first. So thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd, where today we got into the old style Latvian field ration, menu number 4. This was a lot of fun. I really wish I could have gotten one of these in date, but that ship has absolutely sailed. There's no more of these rations left that are still in date. I was lucky enough to get one that was only 5 years expired. I have finally gotten the Latvian ration that I've been drooling over on MRE Mountain for a long time. Finally got to experience one, ordered a bunch, never got them. That kind of sucked. I really did enjoy getting into this. I think these are relatively basic and simple rations. There's nothing wrong with that. Coming in at about 2,000 calories, that's one hell of a ration, so it's not really that bad. If you can eat it all, that rye bread, even when it's fresh, is a bit of a challenge. That is definitely a cultural thing. You either grow up on that and you love it, or maybe you love it just because you like really sour, bitter shit. I'm not a big fan of the bread, even when it's fresh, but it's certainly very interesting, and if that is your cultural norm, that's going to be a welcome addition. Probably taking some of those nice fresh hunks of bread and dipping it in your beans and meat would have been the way to go, but that bread wasn't going anywhere near my beans and meat because it was absolutely funky. And if you like to keep it funky, you know what you could do for this guy. You could absolutely hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and talk to me in the chat. It's always a great time to hear from you guys. I really appreciate all the support that I get for doing this channel, and I even appreciate the hate. And congratulations, News Guys Camping. This will be coming out to you shortly, and you'll have to maybe do your own review on your channel, bro, to let me know how this fish is. But you guys know how this goes at this point, and if you don't, I'm absolutely going to tell you if you can find something cooler than this Latvian field ration menu number 4, expired in 2021, to put in your face hole, you absolutely know what to do. Eat 'em up.
Man, I don't even know what this guy's doing sometimes, like he putting them baby grumpkins in his face. I'm talking about the raisins. They look like little angry grumpkins. Like, I don't know, like, why this guy continues to eat old shit. Maybe there's something wrong with him, but you know there's nothing wrong with you guys, especially when you hang around at the end of the video and check out all the names of the Patreon peoples, and then you be listening to me, because I know that some of y'all just come for Sling Ration, because Sling Ration is probably one of the coolest people on the planet. And I mean, I'm only saying that because I happen to know Sling Ration personally, because I'm wearing his underpants at the moment, and I'm wearing his socks too. So don't tell him that I got his underpants on. He might get all pissed off and come at me like all Gene Simmons and try to like lick my face. I don't even know where that came from. That shit just came like right out of the back of my brain, because sometimes there's some really weird shit floating around in the back of my head, like riding around in the clouds, almost like Vishnu with a big lightning bolt trying to chase a unicorn, eating a cookie, and on top of the cookie there's a little ballerina that's actually a poodle twiddling around in a circle. Now, I'm not even sure what I'm saying at this point, but you guys get the point. Like, I got to talk a little while so that way you can all see the Patreon people's names, and I gotta try to come up with something funny to say. You think that shit's easy? You be giving that a try, man. You get on here and do the thing where you just like suddenly have to talk and say some shit and then try to be funny and make people laugh. Man, that shit ain't always easy, especially depending on what mood you're in, because sometimes you just ain't in the mood to be funny. You just want to get on here and be like, y'all suck a big fat penis, and maybe you guys should just like fucking stick a knife in your face because you're just in that kind of mood where you want to talk some nasty shit to somebody, but you gotta get on here and you gotta be like all nice and make people smile and shit, even if you ain't feeling real smiley on the inside. Sometimes you just want to punch a motherfucker and you can't, because you know it's this shit's illegal now, right? Like they done made us into a bunch of sissies where like 2 men or 2 people can't just decide to like have some mutual combat and beat the fuck out of each other. I don't know, wear your black eye with pride, bitch.